He is one of the top bantamweight prospects in the sport, and I'm sure one day he looks forward to not being called 19-year-old Raul Rosas Jr., but he is 19-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. Raul Rosas Jr. is my guest. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. Do you ever get tired of being referred to as like 18-year-old Raul Rosas, 19-year-old Raul Rosas? Because it seems like that's how everyone always refers to you.
Nah, I don't get tired of it. I like it.
It's kind of wild. I was looking it up because obviously you're the youngest fighter in the UFC, and I was like, I wonder who's the next closest. The next closest someone's 21, so you still got everybody beat by a couple years.
Yeah, yeah.
So Raul, obviously coming out of your last fight, man, big win, and obviously at that point we all kind of knew what was coming next for you. September, UFC 306 at the Sphere, Mexican Independence Day, Noche UFC. But I haven't heard any announcements, and I saw your Instagram that you're kind of waiting. So what's the latest? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a fight at the Spear. That's what I'm pushing for because I want to be able to fight on an event that's gonna be the first time. Like it's history in the books. I want to be a part of history and be able to make history.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we all kind of just assumed that after you won your fight, you beat Ricky Tercios, that would be your next fight. Have there been conversations with the UFC? Has your management talked to UFC? Like, where are you at right now?
Yeah, yeah, we're pushing for it. We're my manager's talking to the Spear, so it looks like I am gonna be on the Spear. Um, just finishing like looking for an opponent. That's why I posted like that I was looking for a top 15 guy. But even if I don't get a top 15 guy, I think I get an opponent, I get on the Spear, I get another highlight finish, and I really think that should put me on uh for a top 15 guy next. But right now my focus is on getting the fight on the Spear and putting on the show.
Can I imagine that that is the most important part? Like, obviously, a top 15 opponent would be great, but really, it's just about getting on that Mexican Independence Day card. Like, no matter who it is that really what's most important?
At this point, yeah. First I wanted a top 15 guy or uh a fighter that has a big name as well, just because it's a big event and obviously I bring a lot of people, I have a lot of hype on me and I have a lot of attention. But if imagine if you could bring someone like me on the other side of the cage, how big of a fight would that be at the Sphere? So that's what I was trying to push for. But at this point, I guess I'll go back to fighting another whoever it is and climb the ladder.
Well, since we were getting ready to talk today, I did a little research and I was looking at the top 15 in your division, and I was thinking, like, because Pedro Munoz, I was looking at number 11 through 15, because obviously, you get in the top 10 might be a little bit ambitious. So Pedro Munoz doesn't have a fight booked. I know Jonathan Martinez is dealing with a tragedy right now. I saw you post on Instagram. He had a personal tragedy. I don't want to burden him with a fight call out. Dominic Cruz, I'm not really even sure what's going on with Dominic. Mario Batista and Kyler Phillips. Those are the 11 through 15 guys. Obviously, Umar's 10, and Umar's, of course, fighting Corey Sandhagen coming up on August 3rd. Can I imagine any of those guys I mentioned you would be interested in, or is there a certain name you're out of those names that you'd be interested in?
Right now that you mentioned those names, I hadn't really looked at it. But right now that you're mentioning those names, I think Pedro Munoz would be a good fight. Um, Kyler and Mario, I trained with them at the MMA lab and I plan on maybe one day after this fight making it my full camp gym. So they could be potentially my training partners. They're cool with me and they help me a lot. I've already trained with Mario Bautista and Kyler Phillips, so I would try to not fight them. Uh, so yeah, maybe Pedro Munoz and yeah.
I saw it's funny. Pedro has the nickname the Young Punisher, and I think you have. I think you might have a beat on that one because you are the Young Punisher now, right?
Oh, that's just, whose nickname is that?
That's Pedro Munoz. He's the Young Punisher. He's 37, but he's the Young Punisher. But now you're 19. I feel like you might have to take his nickname from him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I put the problem child since like since I was a kid and like I was beating grown men, so it just came like that, you know.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think that would be a great matchup. That's actually, it's funny you say that. That was the one I kind of singled out as well because he's a veteran, been around a long time. And, again, you're not calling out the number 4 guy in the world. That's number 15. I think that's reasonable. But beyond that, like, if it's not Pedro Munoz, as you said, like just a name, because it's not just Noche UFC, it's not just UFC 306, it's a pay per view, it's a big card. I'm sure you want a big fight, right? Like, I'm sure you'd fight anybody, but a bigger name would matter more, right? Like you want a name that matters.
Yeah, especially because like just think of the fight was set, me and Pedro Munoz. Um, how many people were tuning to that one, wanting to see me breaking the top into the top 15, and some people wanting to see him stop me from doing that. And he has a name, he has a few highlights. He's dangerous. He's a good fighter. He's a veteran. He's experienced, and I'm young and hungry, trying to chase my goal to the belt, you know. So it would bring a lot of hype. He has a number, and it would be a big win for me, and it would be a big win for him as well if he won. So that's a fight that would be sick, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you look at where you're at right now, Raul, when you had that loss and since then you've been so dominant, and I know a lot of fighters say you learn a lot from a loss. Do you feel like now where you're at this fight going into the sphere that you are not only ready for that top 15 competition, but you're ready to really tackle, like not just get in the top 15, but work your way up the ranks? Because again, as a very young guy, if you said, "Hey, I want a couple of more, I want a few more fights before I get to the top 15," I don't think anyone would blame you. But it seems like you're not only ready for the top 15, but you're ready to really tackle the top 15.
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready to. I'm training so hard, and I'm training so hard, and it makes me want to fight the best. I want to test myself, and I want to fight the best to show that I'm the best. So I don't. I just want to go out there and fight ranked opponents that are gonna get me closer to the belt. More than anything, I want fights that are gonna get me closer to the belt, closer to my dream. And if it plays out how I have it in my mind, it's just gonna put me closer to the belt. So it gives me more of a chance to break the record of being the youngest UFC champion.
And I know that's a big goal of yours. You are adamant you want to break John Jones' record. Obviously, you got a little time. You got a little time to get there, but I know you said that is the goal you want. That is what you really want to do. You want to break that record as the youngest UFC champion ever, and obviously you're on a great course for that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm on the right path. I'm on a 2-fight win streak, and right now I just beat a good game opponent, Ricky Turcios. He was the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and I feel like I did not only beat him, I made a statement because he had never been finished before. He's a tough opponent. He's hard to kill, but I was able to get the kill, so I feel like that made a statement for me.
Absolutely. And I know when you're out in Vegas, I know you train with guys like Aljamain Sterling and some of the guys out there. So you know what it's like to go with the best guys in the world. You mentioned you may end up going back down to the MMA lab. Is that the plan to eventually go down there and call that team home? Like where do you want to call home in terms of your team?
Yeah, I really checked out the MMA lab, and I think I want to call it home. Uh, yeah, I just haven't had a chance because I'm active and I don't want to move gyms in between camp. I feel like that would be really hard. Like last time that I was checking it out because I didn't have a fight booked after the Mexico one fell out. I got a call that I was fighting Ricky Tercio, so I had to turn around and come back and because there's a lot of things that I gotta adjust to living over there, like who's gonna do my meal preps, who's gonna be my strength and conditioning coach, striking coach, grappling coach. Obviously, the partners are there. There's high level partners like Kyler Phillips, Mario Bautista, Marcus McGee. Um, so yeah, more than anything, I like it because there's a lot of high level 35ers that can put me on situations that I could be in a fight and help me improve, help me get better, and I know I'll help them as well. So it'll just be us, all of us growing, and it'll just be something amazing to see.
Yeah. Do you think that'll happen after this fight? Like, assuming you fight in the Sphere in September, would that be the time to maybe do that to make that transition down to Arizona?
Yeah, I think the time to do it is for sure after this fight because I think after this fight I'll probably fight till December or till next year, so that'll give me enough time to go out back to Arizona and figure out my stuff out to where I can eventually make it my fight camp and call it home.
Yeah. Now, this fight at the Sphere is right now, we are literally just a little under 2 months away, September 14th, as we sit here today. I imagine like you're never, I imagine you never really stopped training, but are you already kind of in a way ramping up your training camp? Because technically, even if they called you tomorrow, like you're only 8 weeks out, like it's not that far away. And I say 8 weeks, that's really 7 weeks because fight week, you're cutting weight and doing media and stuff like that. So we're basically 7 weeks out right now. So are you already kind of starting a camp to get ready for September 14th? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, yeah, I'm training for that date. Um, right now I'm already like on my, I've been training since after my fight. I've been training, but seriously, this is like my third week of camp. Uh, so I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling sharp, and I'm just waiting for a name.
Yeah. Now I know you have a great team around you, great management team around you. So let me just ask you right now as we're talking, do you feel confident, like even though we're not sure who it's going to be, do you feel confident you will be fighting in Noche UFC?
Yes, I feel confident because what made it hard is that there's only going to be 10 spots on the card. But not trying to be cocky or nothing, but if we're being real and you ask anybody that if I should be on that card, I feel like I'm a most definitely gotta be on that card. I feel like I bring a lot of Mexican fans, a lot of people, a lot of views. So I feel like the numbers talk, and I feel like I should definitely be on that card. So that makes me feel confident that I am gonna be on that card.
Well, also, I mean, listen, you become quite a bit of a star, Raul, and when you look at it's a celebration of Mexican Independence Day. Of course, Alexa Grasso, the champion. Of course, we understand why she's going to be on there, but you're going to bring a lot of eyeballs, and that's why I think a big fight makes sense, like a Pedro Munoz or whoever else it is, because that's a pay per view fight, right? Like this isn't like a prelim or anything. Like this is a pay per view fight, so it seems it would make a lot of sense because when you talk about the Mexican stars of the UFC, obviously you're already near the top. I mean, I don't mean any offense to anybody else out there, but I think it's pretty well stated that you're already near the top of that list.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Like I said, you're right on that, and I feel like it's hard. Some top 15 guys don't want to risk sometimes fighting someone that's not ranked, uh, because they don't want to risk their spot, or sometimes to them it just doesn't make sense. Like if I was ranked, it wouldn't make sense really for me to fight somebody outside of the top 15 because I wouldn't. There's nothing to win sometimes for them. But I feel like when any top 15, like let's say Pedro Munoz fights me, he has a lot to win. He can try to steal away my hype. He can try to stop me. He can, like he'll win a lot from fighting me, especially at Noche UFC. And me on my side, I'll also win a lot by beating him, which will put me on the rankings and stuff. So it's a win-win for both of us. So we would really throw down at the Sphere.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of like back in the day when Hamzat Chimaev first came in. He wasn't ranked, but everyone knew how good he was, had a lot of hype around him. And a guy like Gilbert Burns was like, yeah, give me that fight because even though he's not ranked, I know it's a big deal. You're a name, Ro. Let's be honest. Like, you're a big name, even if you don't have a ranking. Like, a win over you or a fight against you, not trying to offend anybody, would probably get a lot more attention than even fighting some of the guys in the top 15. Like, let's be honest. Like, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but fighting you is probably a bigger fight than some of the fights in the top 15. So it still matters.
Yeah, yeah. Like it'll also get them like more sponsors, more uh, Instagram followers, a lot of things like on attention wise. I feel like they'll get them by beating me. So I feel like I'm someone that also brings something to the table. I'm not just someone like trying to fight in the ranking. Like I have a big name. I have wins in the UFC. I have a lot of hype. I have a lot of followers on Instagram, so they can try to steal all that. They have a chance to steal all that from me, and especially like I'm telling you, like the UFC wants to book me at the Spear because they see the numbers that I generate. So that's giving them a chance to also be at the Spear because they're fighting me, you know? And it's just, I feel like it's an opportunity for both of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I let you go, Raul, I was going to ask because you're in Vegas right now. Have you been to the Sphere?
I've never been inside of it, but I've heard that there's a lot of technology inside of it. And now I don't want to go. I want to wait till it's fight day.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I haven't been inside of either. I've only seen the outside, so I'm really curious what that fight's going to look like. And 10 spots, I think you got to get one of them, Raul. I don't think there's any way around. I think you deserve one of those spots. I think you need to be on one of those spots. You're healthy, you're ready to fight. So hopefully this conversation kind of gets it going, and we get Pedro Munoz or somebody else to step up and take that fight. But thank you for taking a little time for me today, man. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, have good training out there, man. Safe training, and hopefully next time we talk, it's when you get that fight booked, and we're figuring out who you're fighting at the Sphere on September 14th.
Thank you. Yeah. We're just waiting on a fight name, and hopefully it can be someone great. You know, I really like. I hadn't thought about it, but right now that you said it, I like the Pedro Munoz option. You know, that would be an amazing fight.
I love it. I love it. Well, Raul, thank you so much again for the time, man. I really appreciate it. Let's catch up again in the future.
Thank you.